Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, on location this week in the most beautiful place I've ever seen, with my good friend, my buddy, Matt. Matt, what's going on, dude?
Not much, Mark. I heard that you are going to be remodeling the Bourbon Life studios to look a little bit
I think so.
like this,
yeah,
right?
If I could do this in my basement, man, I wish we did video so people could see this, but it's
we have the budget for it, right?
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's right. But yeah, we're happy to be back, man. Happy to be on the road for this episode. We got a great show lined up today. We'll get to that in just a minute. Matt, we got a couple Bourbon Barrel Society members with birthdays this week. Joe Ramsey, James Bates, congratulations. Happy birthday to you guys. Then I also thank our sponsors, Matt, the Stave Restaurant out there in Millville, Kentucky, making some great food out there on the banks of Glens Creek on McCracken Pike. So stop by and check those guys out. You can check them out online as well. Chef Kyle Klatka is making some great food. And then also 3 Chord Bourbon, our other sponsor. We appreciate what they're doing. Ari Sussman, Master Blender up there, just doing some great work, and we appreciate their sponsorship as well. Matt, I don't want to take up too much time, man. I want to get right into this. So you want to tell everybody who we have with us?
Absolutely. We have to be on location because it is raining cats and dogs out there. And
That's
it
right.
seems like every time we travel, it's raining. So just our luck.
Oh, man.
But anyway, we are happy to be at Bardstown Bourbon Company, and we have joining us today the VP of Product Development and the Chief Operating Officer, Dan Callaway and John Hargrove. Gentlemen, welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Likewise. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for having us, man. I mean,
absolutely.
This is a great thing. That's what, before we started, I was talking to John, and, we're talking about the COVID and dealing with trying to record with guests and doing everything remotely. And we wanted to have you guys on the show, but I knew that this was a place that we wanted to come down to and do this in person. Did not want to do this online through a computer. So we appreciate you guys hosting us. Now, Dan, I think I have you listed as the VP of Product Development, but you're also, is it Director of Hospitality? Is that an official title as well?
Yep. Product Development and Hospitality.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, 2 things I love. And I also, I'm so glad that you guys decided to do it on site, because that's what we encourage everyone to do, is come check us out here. Yeah,
well, you guys are definitely hospitable. There's no question about that, Dan. The last time I was here, I like to tell people if I know our guest, if I've met them before. You and I met in 2019. And actually, I believe it was July of 2019, so about 2 years ago, when I came down here with Eric from Bourbon in Time and Chad from It's Bourbon Night. And Eric invited me to come down and join him for the day. And you were just, man, you were so gracious. You fed us a great meal. The food was just, what do we have? The grilled cheese.
Okay. Yep. With tomato.
Oh my God, that you can dip. Oh man. That was great. And we had a filet. I mean, and then you took us on a tour, and then you treated us to some of your classic vintage bourbons that you have here.
Sounds like you had a pretty good day.
Funny, must have lost my invite that day.
Well, I tell you what, guys, before we get into talking and conversation, let's talk a little bit, because we have a bad tendency to jump right in and start our conversation, and we forget to talk about what we're drinking. So if you guys don't care, you want to tell everybody what we've got poured up on this first round?
Yeah, sure. So this is our newest Fusion Series release. This is number 5. It's a fusion between bourbon off our stills, so distilled by Bardstown Bourbon Company. We started distilling in 2016, so it's we're hitting about 4.5 years right now.
Okay.
And then we blend that with sourced Kentucky bourbon. So it's a fusion of the young and the old, but more importantly, it's a fusion of all the perspectives that we have under one roof. Our executive chef, our master distiller, amazing beverage experts. We all come together. We taste through about 50 different options that this could be. Blind tasting, different rounds. John and I coordinate the process, and then it works its way down to this winner. And this is a special one. To me, it's the smoothest one we've done. So it's about 95 proof. Great as a summer sipper, great in cocktails. Just a really cool all-around pour.
Very nice. So you said it's 94.9
94.9
proof. And so you got 3 different mash bills in there, 2 of which are yours. and then another Kentucky distillery.
It's 70% of this is from our stills.
Oh, okay.
3-4 year bourbon from our stills. The remaining 30% is 11-year Kentucky bourbon. So you get a really cool balance. The thought was always that this would build into 100% estate distilled bourbon from Bardstown Bourbon Company, but it's kind of built its own following. It's won some great awards, and we're going to keep rolling with this concept.
And this is the 5th release, right?
The 5th one.
Okay, great. And this one just came out. Is that right?
Just came out.
That's what I thought. Matt, I see you over there nosing it, man. What do you pick up on this one?
So how long does the process take since you've gotten input from, I'm just curious here, from everyone, and you're going through 50 different choices, or what how long before you finally, you're there and you're bottling?
Every round's unique, usually about a couple weeks from start to finish to get everyone in the room, get them tasting, voting. It's all blind. John will go grab a bottle of a different finished product, and we'll throw in past releases of Fusion, and the blend that wins always has to beat out everything.
Yeah, what's very unique about it is traditionally there's master blenders at facilities, especially distillery producing facilities, even non-distillery producers. And here we took a very team approach, cross-departmental approach, and really leveraged our assets across different departments: food, beverage, bar, distillation team, and we brought that all in one to create this product. So we're pretty proud of the process. We're proud of what it creates, and it's fun doing it right. We get 15, 16 people in a room over a couple weeks, tasting, bantering back and forth. So it makes our job a lot more fun than it should be at the end of the day, which is great. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a team effort. I mean, it really is a team effort, not just the distillers or the blender. You get the entire team involved, it sounds like. So
very unique perspectives, and Dan and I have been head to head before on disagreements. Most of the time we agree, but it's kind of like an NCAA bracket, right?
Yeah,
and, at the end of the day, quality is number one, but experience and just what we get to do by blending this and the steps that we take is just phenomenal, I think. So.
Very cool. Very nice, man.
Yeah,
I like that.
Doubt. That sounds so much better than like all the meetings I have to go through at work. Like open my email and say, oh, great, another meeting about the budget or whatever. Like, love to.
Why can't we do this at my office? We just sit around and drink bourbon and talk about legal issues.
I will say it's not something we do every day, though. There is a non-sexy side where we are working spreadsheets and conference calls, virtuals, everything like that. So.
This is the perk, right?
This is the perk of the job. Yeah.
So, Matt, what are you getting over there on it, man?
I got the nose. I picked up like some nice dark stone fruit at first, and then I think it's a little bit. I pick up raisin, and like specifically cinnamon raisin, like a cinnamon raisin bread, something sweet, almost like the bottom of like a pineapple upside down cake.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Like the sweet syrupy side of it.
Yeah, I always get those nice fruit notes from the younger component, you know, and then that richness, the baking spice, cinnamon, a lot of that's coming from the 11-year. But the complexity you get from that balance of young and old is just something unique and cool.
It's a really great way to take it with the complexities to, like you said, balance those two out, because I think there's so often a lot overlooked by younger whiskey, and especially like younger ryes as well. I think they have so many great characteristics, and when you blend it in, bring some of that age from the oak and the older product, you're setting yourself up for success.
Right. I mean, it's all about balance for us. Those young bright notes, balance with those older oaky notes, and what's really cool is we don't plan like a 60-40, 70-30 ratio, right? So we blend until we get it right. And this one is the first one we moved to a 70% estate, 30% bulk, where we went out into the open market and bought older bourbon, source bourbon, right? And we were able to increase our estate ratio, and it turned out great, even compared to like 60% estate, 40% brokered bourbon. So it's really neat.
Yeah, it's something, because I was thinking in my mind, I think I had a preconceived notion that I'm probably going to pick up some grains just from a younger bourbon being in there, and at 70%, automatically thinking, okay, I'll pick up more of a younger grain kind of flavor, but I really don't. I mean, Matt, I don't know if you...
No, I really don't as well. That's another thing. Yeah. You don't want to call it a concern, but something you always think of when you're looking at 2, 3, 4-year-old bourbon. Sometimes you get a little rough on the palate, a little rough on the nose, but this doesn't come through that way at all.
Yeah, and this is our way to showcase the product off our stills. So we started distilling 2016. it's going to be 2023 when we have the 100% estate distilled. But
Right.
we build this fusion so you can see. I mean, we love the bourbon at 3 and 4 years. Love the flavor. We're just waiting for it to round out over the coming years. But with this fusion series, you can see a variety of mash bills and what we're creating.
Yeah, very cool. Well, guys, now that we've talked about, we did our thing, right? We didn't jump into a conversation. We talked about the bourbon, Matt, so we should be proud of ourselves.
We did it.
It's early on a Saturday morning that we're recording this, so I'm surprised that we managed to stay on course. But guys, let's talk about you guys a little bit. Whoever wants to go first, just kind of tell our listeners about yourselves, how you got into the industry. Well, your background first, talk about where you came from and everything. And then if you will, just share how you got into the industry and how you ended up here at Bardstown.
Yeah, so I didn't have a traditional route to the industry. I actually started off in the military. I was with 5th Special Forces Group for a few years, 8 years total active duty. Outside of that...
Thanks for your service, man.
Yeah, I mean, I tell everybody it's a volunteer army, right? So I
yeah.
appreciate it, though. But after that, I got into manufacturing through PepsiCo on their light snacks food division. So my latest post was out of their Quaker Oats headquarters out of Chicago.
Okay.
And I ran what they call business unit leader for the lean manufacturing division, over 12 co-packers out of the greater Chicago area. And then I got my feet wet in the spirits industry with Sazerac. So I came on over their quality department. And then my last post before leaving was Master Distiller and Director of Distillation Operations at 1792 here in Bardstown. So, and then 4 years ago, I had the great opportunity. It worked out to where I got to come on to this new project in with Bardstown Bourbon Company in Bardstown, Kentucky, and really got to help build this place to what it is today and assemble a great team. So tell everybody, you can see it. The facility looks great. The equipment looks great, but none of it means anything without the team that we've definitely built here at Bardstown Bourbon Company. So we really do have a world-class team, and I think that really manifests itself in the quality, the facility, and just the experience that everybody truly appreciates here when they step onto our property. So
yeah, man, that's quite a diverse background and like a winding path.
It's a roller coaster. Like I said, it wasn't traditional. I didn't have anybody in the family that was in the spirits industry.
Yeah.
I got a lucky break, and by lucky break, I mean somebody in PepsiCo came to Sazerac, and from there it was just all downhill.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So how did it happen that you went from Chicago and then ended up?
So when the bourbon boom hit, right? So we had all these distilleries in this Kentucky area were really ramping up our operations because a lot of them were one shift, 4 or 5 day operations before the bourbon boom hit. So when it really ramped up, 6, 7, 8 years ago now, they needed to really staff a lot of these facilities to get people in to ramp up to 24/7 operations. So my main goal at Barton 1792 Distillery was getting going from 3 million cases to 10.5 million cases in 1 year, ramping up bottling line capacities, ramping up distillation production capacities across the board. So there was a big push basically to hire a lot of food manufacturing employees early on that really were process driven, knew the processes, and bring them on, kind of get that outside the box thinking, right? So because there is an art, but there's definitely a science. There's a turn to the science aspect of it these days in distillation across the board. So there was a big push early on with companies across the board coming from lots of different food manufacturing industries to come onto the spirits world and really ramp up production to meet consumers' demand for bourbon.
Wow.
I mean, I think we're at 9.5 million barrels in Kentucky.
Yeah, that's like
year.
over 2 barrels per person.
I'm
still waiting on.
When I started, I think we were at 3.5 million barrels. So just in a short time, you can see
thank
how
you.
that production.
That jump solely to you.
Well, not solely to me, just across the board, right? Women and men like me. So I think the industry, it's great for the industry, right? The boom has really helped. I think product competition breeds quality, and I think the industry as a whole has improved, and people with the experience of drinking bourbon, it's in a great place right now, and we keep hoping that the train keeps on going downhill full speed.
Yep.
So.
We do too.
Yeah,
No doubt.
most certainly.
Well, that's awesome. So, Dan, tell us a little bit about, or tell us a lot a bit, whatever, man. We're here for conversations.
We're on a time limit too.
No, you tell us everything you want to tell us. So.
It's funny. So like John, I had a winding path to get into this industry. Came up always in music. Grew up in England and then came over to the U.S. And my dad was a musician, music in the family. Studied French horn and then started playing in an orchestra in New Orleans. Did that for a long time.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Very cool.
different path.
Yeah.
And then I started doing these traveling orchestras that would go into Asia, and met my current wife in China, and then came back, and I was driving up to see her in Louisville. She's a Kentucky girl, and made the decision to leave Louisiana and move to Kentucky.
Wow.
And always did wine and cocktails, and got to know the founder of Copper and Kings pretty well, Joe Herron.
Okay.
And I was running a restaurant in Louisville at the time, and he introduced me to the people starting up this place. And day one, I walk in, and John's at the door grilling me for identification. So
I didn't know who this band geek was walking in our door.
That's right. There you go. There you go.
but yeah, never looked back, The coolest thing is coming on early, just seeing all the development that we've created here, creating this modern bourbon experience, combining, adding the restaurant in 2018,
right?
Then 2019, the visitor center, immersive experiences where we can dive into barrels and cocktail classes, and just seeing this whole thing explode and grow. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're a musician, a French horn player.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's also a som level too. He's being pretty humble. Dan has what I consider probably one of the greatest palates, noses in the industry, just from a product development standpoint, and being able to recognize what a great blend, what a great bourbon is. So one of the few times I will brag about him on here on record.
We're recording, right?
Yeah.
We are. I was going to say, John, we are recording. Just so you know, man, this is gonna go out to thousands of people. Okay,
I mean,
so
normally you don't see a VP of hospitality and product development, right?
Right.
So I mean,
right.
this guy wears a lot of hats, and it's it's a testament to his skill set and his tools in his bag. What he really lends to the company. So great to have him.
That's awesome, man. So do you ever bring the French horn to work and just break it out? And
I was talking to Mark, our CEO, about doing the flag raise, maybe on Derby Day.
There you
I'll
go.
bring it in.
Forget the bugle and just bring out the French horn. Well, I played baritone for 5 years in band, man. So I know the French horns. It's something I could never play just because that mouthpiece was so small. I could never imagine doing that. The baritone, and I played tuba, so you get these big mouthpieces. Isn't
the French horn the hardest instrument to play? Is
that right?
I
think
it's the opposite. Actually, it's like it's like the recorder, like in 5th grade.
Everybody could do it.
Yeah.
The French horn players are just retired trumpet players. The people that didn't really want to play trumpet, they just move them over to French horn, right?
Something like that. No, it's a blast. It's collecting dust right now, but I still get it out from time to time.
Nice, man. Now that's really cool. I appreciate that. So Matt, let's jump back to the bourbon a little bit here and talk about it. What are you picking up in terms of the palate and the finish on this one?
The palate's really sweet right on the front. Got a really sweet note, and then again, I'm getting like caramelized pecans. Like I'm keep going back to this like upside down cake, or like not pineapple upside down cake, but I'm like the caramelized sugar and maybe like a pecan or a walnut that would be caramelized on the underside of a pineapple upside down cake.
I love what you're saying. I mean, I agree. And everything
we need to publish those tasting notes.
Yeah. Print new hang tags. Yeah. But what you're coming back to, I love, which is fruit and then depth and sweetness. And I think that's what you get with the fusion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's crazy because as it sets in the glass, it's getting sweeter in the nose to me. Mm-hmm. But then on the palate, like you said, Matt, you get that initial sweetness, but then you get this really nice kind of spiciness as well. Kind of the cinnamon that you talked about on the nose, and the finish on it just continues to go on and on and on. I think that was kind of a big surprise to me. I was not expecting, I was expecting to get a nice little finish on there, but man, this one just continues to tingle on the tongue.
Yeah, and it's a product of the process, right? Having an executive chef, Stu Plush, on the panel, he's going to focus on these finishes and how it feels and how it works with food, and it's just the benefit of having this incredible team all sitting on the same panel.
Yeah, this would be a great one to pair with a lot of different foods. This could really go well with something savory because it doesn't have like a super long, spicy, hot finish. I think it would go really well that way.
Cool.
If you really want to get dangerous, just have it with an upside down cake.
There you go. There you go. Now you're talking, man.
This could be the bourbon upside down cake.
Well, see, Matt's been in the food industry and worked in a bakery for years, and so he's got the he can relate everything, to food and spice and whatnot. So that's it's always a plus when Matt gets his tasting notes.
That's great.
Because I sit here and say it's sweet, it's got caramel and vanilla.
It's a great perspective to have, right, from the food industry, because there's a lot of adjectives that people have a hard time really describing what a good bourbon is. So, Matt, when people like you come on, like I said, let's publish those tasting notes. I mean, it's really, really cool to hear that somebody's so articulate and can translate what a bourbon tastes like. So
it's usually just that I'm hungry. And
Man, he was driving down.
Upside down cake sounds really good right now.
He was driving down from Lexington this morning and thinking about pineapple upside down cake. Right?
Must have been it.
Well, the restaurant's open today, so
yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that's we can talk about the restaurant a little bit later, but you guys are reopening. Is it reopening today? Is that, or has it been open?
we've been rolling.
Oh, okay. All right. Great. Yeah, we can talk about that, and I've got that. We met our list of questions, so we can
Fantastic.
we can talk about that. But yeah, this is this fusion. This is really good. I'm really enjoying this. And I'll say that I'm surprised. Like I said, on the nose especially, I was surprised. I was expecting just a little bit of a younger, just a younger taste or a younger smell on it. And the palate is very, very well blended, and it's just, it has a very mature taste to it, which is really cool. So I like the combination of flavor. So definitely, it's not like I was expecting it to not be good, but I think I'm surprised at how good it really is,
Thank you.
So I know it sounds weird to say that, I guess, but it's like, wow, man, I'm really, because I've not had the Fusion.
Yeah, that's our goal as a brand, to surprise people too.
Yeah.
So we're fairly young distillery, right? 2016.
Right.
So the more we can get out, more people tasting our product, the better. And we love to surprise people with
awesome
how great a quality product we're putting out there right now.
Well, I give this one 2 thumbs up. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a great view into the future of the estate product to be coming out in 2023. If you're leading 70% of your distillate in this, this is a really good glimpse into the future.
What's exciting, there's going to be like 4 different expressions coming out. So we got 2 wheated bourbons, a rye bourbon, and a rye whiskey that'll all come out at 6 years or older. Starting in 2023, so
you had Matt at rye.
I know.
Yeah, Matt at rye.
Set up my lawn chair outside your gift shop right now.
Matt, you can't leave, or you got to leave. It's 2 years away, man. Okay,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Little tent out front. We know who it is. It's going to be Matt. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Let's wrap up the first session here. Final thoughts, Matt, on this one?
Really great. Really, really good blend. It's got a lot of the really, really bright characteristics that I love from younger bourbon, and then the old age really balances it out well with a nice little heat on the finish and a little more depth and complexity. A really great blend, and really cool to hear that this was done with the whole team, everybody here in the process. I think you've really done a great job to include everyone, and it shows in the product.
Awesome. Thank you. Well said.
Yeah, definitely. Matt, I'll just step out and let you just, do the rest of the podcast.
No way.
You guys don't need me here, right? So, but no, I agree, Matt. Excellent job, guys. Really, really happy with this one. Very good. Very good. So let's get a quick break. Get a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with more with Dan and John from Bardstown Bourbon Company in just a minute. Hey, Bourbon Lifers. When you're out hunting for those hard-to-find bottles or just enjoying the distilleries of Central Kentucky, you're going to work up an appetite. And when it's time to refuel, we suggest that you visit our good friends Rebecca and Eric Burnworth at the Stave Restaurant. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, close to Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, the Stave Restaurant is just off the beaten path, nestled on the banks of Glens Creek. With a newly redesigned menu, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day featuring an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. You can take our word for it. The food alone is worth the trip to the Stave. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. And you can even purchase bottles of bourbon to take home with you while you're there. Make sure to follow the Stave on Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky, or visit them online at thestavekentucky.com to stay up to date on everything that's going on. The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise, right here in the heart of bourbon country. All right, everybody, welcome back for round 2, period 2, session 2, whatever you want to call it, at the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, live from Bardstown Bourbon Company today with my good friend, Matt. Matt, how you doing?
Great, Mark. I am doing great. We are live. We're on location. We're here. We're doing it.
I love it, man.
The original dream of the
Yeah,
Bourbon Life
it really
podcast.
is. It really was the dream, man, to be able to go out and just meet great people that are in the industry and be on site and drink with people and create new friendships, man. So this is a great time to be here. So tell everybody who we have with us.
Absolutely. We've got Dan Callaway and John Hargrove from Bardstown Bourbon Company, here. So that's the VP of Product Development and also the Chief Operating Officer. And what do we have poured up for round 2 here, gentlemen?
Matt, good job jumping right into the whiskey, man.
Someone's got to keep the train
I know,
on
man.
the tracks
Whew.
here.
I love it. So we started with our Fusion series, which is taking that panel and blending together bourbon from our stills, young bourbon with older source bourbon. The next one is we're going to do Discovery Series, which celebrates the art of blending. So it's making one bourbon that's better than any of its individual components. The process is the same. It's a process we believe in, taking the beverage, culinary, distilling, working on a panel. The goal of the Discovery is it's all older sourced bourbon.
Okay.
It started out really Kentucky-based, and now it's starting to branch out. Discovery Series 5 in front of us has 17-year Tennessee as part of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. So, Matt, have you had a chance to...
I've not, but I was actually just thinking if our podcast were kind of like the Discovery Series, like a good blend for us would be like 95% Mark, 5% Matt.
No. That would tace awful.
That's a perfect episode. As little of the color commentary as possible.
Well, I tell you what, we'll give it a second, Matt, because I got a question. I was looking at the website, and it says that you guys have built the most sophisticated and technically flexible distillery in the world. I mean, that's a pretty big statement, you know? So can you break that down and kind of explain what that means and how you guys did it?
Yeah, so, excuse me, very interesting, very unique business model. As you know, we entered the market in 2016 in the height of the bourbon boom, right? So how do we differentiate ourselves, right? As a new distillery. So one, we have to be flexible. We have to offer something that nobody really offers out there. And we achieve that through our collaborative distilling program. So where in years past, non-distillery producers just go to distilleries, they have 3, 4, 5, 6 mash bills to choose from, right? Mm-hmm. Here at the Bardstown Bourbon Company, from grain procurement to barrel procurement, you have a say in everything, in every part of the process.
Wow.
So with that, to produce a high quality, consistent product, the technology has to be there and the team has to be there, right? So team was the number one focus. Equipment, setup, process, design was the second big part of the focus, right? I touched on it earlier, how you can have great equipment, great layouts, but without a great team, it means nothing. We run this year 50 plus mash bills, 2, 3, 4, 5 grain bourbons, rye whiskey, wheated whiskey, American grain and single malts for over 33 different customers in our collaborative distilling program. So just a quick high level summary of how we've grown since 2016. We started at a 25,000 barrel capacity. 2017, we jumped up to a 50,000 barrel capacity. 2018, we jumped up to 100,000 barrel capacity. 2019, we jumped up to 115,000 barrel capacity. So with that collaborative distilling model, we were able to work with some of the largest producers, spirits producers in the world, and start up what we call on the large side of small craft producers. So our smallest runs are 300 barrels, which represents kind of a day, right? Our largest run is 24,000 barrels for a customer. So we meet the demands of the small guys. We meet the demands of the big guys. Wow. So these teams come in with already the technical knowledge, know-how, demands that they want. So we have to be tightened up across the board. So we're ISO 9001, ISO 22000 certified. I got our HACCP certification. So really after that food manufacturing model is really how we designed the facility to make it a food safe facility, just document control. We have a great software system that was really designed by our plant engineer, Roger Henley. It's an open source SCADA platform called Ignition. Over 1,000 hours of programming. We did it in-house. We didn't buy anything off the shelf to run our facility. So we completely designed it internally along with our layouts, worked with a great team with Busick Construction, Lions, LCS, on the electrical side. So we've been having the same construction meeting every Wednesday since 2016. I don't know if you guys noticed, as you pulled in, we have a new 55,000 square foot bottling facility, 3 warehouses going up. We're in the middle of production shutdown, building a new 10,000 bushel corn silo, new asphalt resurfacing. So it's just nothing but construction for the past 5 years here. And it looks like we're going to be that way until about 2023, where we'll finally fill up this 100 acres here.
Yeah, it's funny because I live in Lexington and, drive down to Nashville, I have family down there. And it's like the last 4 or 5 years you drive by and there's always something new. It's always a new building, always a new brick house, always something going on. I mean, you guys have been nonstop.
Yeah, right. And people see the cornfield out there, right? So as you drive in, that's 0.2 days worth of production here. So we're running through about 4,250 bushels a day here now. So clearing about 30 acres of corn a day is what we're producing here on site. So pretty exciting. Over 136 product changeovers a year. So just put that in perspective, like Maker's Mark has 1 mash bill, Buffalo Trace 4 to 6 mash bills outside of their experimental series. Barton's has 4 to 6 mash bills. Just traditionally, we're not traditional, right?
Sure.
So we like to say we are the new kids on the block. We're proud of it. And like I said earlier, competition breeds quality. So we believe this is a true home base for a lot of distilleries. We have great relationships with master distillers, master blenders, other business leaders within the industry that kind of sees this as neutral ground. And we come and have lunch with them, talk ideas. We let people walk in and see how we do stuff here. So we're completely transparent also. So if you're having trouble at your distillery, myself, our head distiller, Nick Smith, Roger Henley, we'll go help you start up a distillery if you're in our collaborative distilling program. We've went down to Treaty Oak, started up their distillery with their team. So we lend that expertise through the industry. And likewise, if we ever need help, we lean on other industry leaders too.
Wow. Yeah, Dan's like, yep.
Yeah. You just tell me to shut up because I'll just keep rolling.
Man, you're good, man. No, that's
so. Was that always the plan? Always the idea?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, Matt. I mean,
great question. So it kind of morphed. What we're really good at is evolving here. So Peter Lofton, the founder of the company, had a great idea. It all started in 2013, right? So he saw a real void in the industry, just from a new perspective, a new take on bourbon, a modern, authentic, experiential place to go. And from that, it originally started out, okay, we'll have a state bourbon. Okay, well, the bourbon boom was happening. Guess what? How do you cash flow a new $50 million facility? What's a great idea to do that? Lay it down, get cash within 30 days, inject it right back into the business, and grow something truly special. So Peter Lofton, unfortunately, he passed away, but his legacy lives on today. His vision lives on today, and we're trying to honor that every day in our outside-the-box thinking and the growth of the company. And his family is really happy how we're meeting, I think, his vision. And, truly would not be here without him. Yeah. So a true visionary within the industry. He's not very well known in the industry, but we're going to change that. We're going to let people know who Peter Lofton is.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I never had the opportunity to meet him, but we were friends or we followed each other on Instagram. So we interacted through Instagram before he passed away, and I never got the chance to meet him in person, but just seemed like such a nice guy, and was like a telecommunications billionaire before 30 or something, right?
Yeah, I tell people at 26 years old, he grew $1 billion business.
Crazy.
In the late 80s, and then so he had the mindset. He's an entrepreneur, right? So he saw that void I was talking about in this industry, and he took advantage of it, and he created a business model that just works. He assembled a team that's just truly amazing. And I'll go back and I'll say this throughout the whole podcast here. Team. I mean, we got the best bottling people, we got the best distillation people, the best food and beverage people, the best bar people. I mean, that money can buy. And the culture here really sets us apart. I mean, because we're truly all family. We joke around when we weren't recording earlier. Dan and I travel the U.S. together, and we have a great time talking bourbon, sharing the brand, and learning about other brands too. So.
Nice.
Yeah, spot on. And that, to me, that's the cool thing about being a modern company. We always say, John talked about the transparency, no myths, no legends, no secrets. Our story is our team and what we're doing today.
That's very respectful. I mean, you got to respect that, that you're transparent about what you're doing and how you're doing it. Because in this day and age, there is there's a lack of transparency with some groups, and I think it frustrates as a bourbon drinker myself. I think it frustrates people sometimes when you don't have that level of transparency, and you want to see it, especially as I think bourbon drinkers as a whole are becoming much more informed and learning more about the industry. And
it starts with the building. It starts being all the glass. You can see right into the distillery. The tours go all the way through. You can take any picture, you can ask any question, and it carries through into the product. So this Discovery Series has the percentage of the blend, source of distillation, and the mash bill and the age right on the label.
Nice. Yeah, that's very nice.
We'd tell you the distillery it came from if we could. That's the only part that frustrates us, right? So,
yeah, right.
So we'll give you the state, the ratio, and the mash bill breakdown, and we'll be as transparent as we can. So even, like I said, even about our process, if you want to know how to run your low wines, high wines, product control temperatures, you're another distillery, come and ask. We're going to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, that's great, and I think that's what the industry should be about. I mean, Matt, what's your favorite saying?
Yeah, rising tide raises all ships.
There you go. I mean, it's true, right?
Yeah, the truth we've figured out in this industry, everybody's in it together.
Yeah, they really are, and it's nice to see that you guys are willing to work with other people, but other people can come to you guys as well, which is really cool. Matt, now that we've had a conversation and you've had a chance to give it a sniff or two, what are you picking up on it?
I picked up some cherry right away on the nose, and a little bit of the darker stone fruit. And then as it sat around longer, I'm getting more butterscotch and leather. I think a little bit of the age is coming through, some of that butterscotch, some leather, maybe a touch of like tobacco on it as well. But there's something else just came out the more it's aired. I'm going to need another second to figure out what that is.
I kind of get a little citrus on it, maybe on the nose a little bit, but I definitely get the cherry, and I don't want to get too much in the palate, but I took a sip or two or maybe three,
Dan, I'd be a little scared if I were you with these descriptions. I mean, you got somebody gunning for your position here.
No, it's great. That cherry is definitely prominent.
Yeah.
It's coming from that middle age in there.
Man.
There's some citrus that's actually, both the oak and citrus are pretty prevalent on the 17 year that you get.
Okay.
But again, this idea of blending, and we're surrounded right now by 400 bourbons. Traditionally, bourbon, you've seen age statements. Is it 15 year? Is it 18 year? The idea of creating different bourbons, making one unified product better than any of its individual parts is something we believe in. It's something that's coming into the industry in a big way. You see it in champagne and tea, in other whiskeys, but blended bourbons can be truly special.
Yeah. We call that a synergistic effect, where the sum is greater than the
individual parts.
There you go.
Yeah. And there's a lot of great product out there from non-distillery producers. So Kentucky Ale, barrel bourbon. I mean, I think blending is the next, blending in the sense of blending bourbons, mingling bourbons together, not blending in the sense of GNS, that kind of blending, but what you see in Irish, Scottish whiskeys, Canadian whiskeys, where there's lots of different individual components that make a great whiskey at the end of the day. I think it's the next big thing in this industry.
Yeah, we've had Tripp on the show twice now. He's our first repeat bourbon industry guest. We had him with Barrel and then also with Stellum recently.
Yep.
Got the best title in the industry.
Yeah. I mean, but it's just really cool how they're, like you said, the blends. I mean, and they're tell you where things come from.
They're killing it. They're absolutely, the quality's killing it. I mean, their brand is killing it. So, I mean, we know those guys very well, respect what they do, and it's just amazing what the industry's doing right now in regards to blending.
Yeah. And it is funny because we are sitting in this room, and I wish people could see this because we're surrounded by so many what you consider classic bourbons and ryes. How far back do these bottles go?
It goes back to 1892 with a Cedar Brook, right by you guys up there, Anderson County. McBrayer Distilling, a brand that's coming back.
Right. Okay.
But it's over 400 whiskeys, and they're all available by the pour. So you talk about experiential, right? You come in, there's a full menu, and they range anywhere, from $20 a pour up to $2,500 a pour. So
$2,500.
Yeah. So the early the 90s when the Van Winkles are coming back. Yeah, those can get pretty pricey. Complete Old Crow Chessman set from 1969, and we'll bring the bottle right to you, and you can really live the history of whiskey.
What would be your favorite out of this whole room, Dan?
It's a great question. Right now, it's the Old Fitzgerald 1956. Is just amazing. We do these vintage whiskey flights on private dinners, and we've been digging into that one. It's about halfway gone, and I want to save it as long as I can.
Well, and I will tell you, when I was down here 2 years ago, I was fortunate enough to get to sample that 10-year-old, very extra old Fitz Gold Vein.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like, I mean, hands down, best bourbon I've ever had. And still to this day, best bourbon I've ever had. So that's what bottle is like. I wish I could find something,
Right.
But the money to pay on that. So how'd you guys get all these bottles? I think Fred worked with you guys, right?
Initially Fred Minnick, awesome. Everyone knows Fred, awesome enthusiast for the industry. And he, went out with and really sought after private collection. So it's only recent legislation where you can do this. Basically buy bourbon from someone's basement, bring it on, sell it by the pour, but you need someone like Fred or Bill Thomas of the Jack Rose who can dig in and authenticate and stand for the bourbon we bring in.
Gotcha. Very nice. Yeah, you guys have it's amazing. I wish we had video.
Unfortunately, somebody has to taste it all before we put it out here. So Dan and I have a rough job going through all this.
Yeah.
It's cool. We take great care of it. Every time we open, we have, with bourbon, they don't expect the cork. They didn't expect the corks to last the same way in wine. So inevitably the cork will disintegrate in a way. So we have about, 50 different cork options we replace and then put argon gas on top, take out some of that oxygen, and really take a lot of pride in this collection.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. It's absolutely amazing. So Matt, before we leave, we might have to go for that $20 range.
Yeah.
No, I think let's do a special pour before you guys leave. So I think we'll pick something good for you guys out here.
Well, that sounds great. So guys, just curious, you're making your own stuff. When you started, you sourced some whiskey, right? So you do have sourced whiskey, but then you were distilling your own. So is everything that you guys distill, do you age it here on site? Everything's still here?
Yeah, definitely so. And that's what we offer our collaborative distilling partners too.
Okay.
So out of 115,000 barrels, this next year, we're going to lay down a little over 20% of that capacity for Bardstown Bourbon brands. And we've slowly been growing that since 2016. The other 80% is in our collaborative program, that 33 different distillers in the industry that we produce for, right? So it's a balance, but we provide, if we distill it, you're going to store it here. So if we need to go up and buy more land here, 2-3 years, we're already looking at that. We're looking at 100 acres next door, 200 acres next door. Like I said, 3-barrel warehouses. So if we run your product here, we offer storage here at the end of the day. And likewise for our products in traditional rack houses, we have everything from our smallest one, which is 23,500 barrels, to our largest one, which is 58,800 barrels. And just to touch on some innovation, one of our warehouses has glass around the edges, and the barrels, with that direct sunlight hitting them every day, is producing some phenomenal bourbon out there. So our warehouse 11 that's being built, foundations right now, the whole front of it is going to be all glass.
Nice.
Yeah, so over 30,000 barrels, half of that be receiving direct sunlight. So we're really excited about that build right now.
Yeah. So now I love the fact when you're talking about your partnership with other people, you're not referring to it as just contract distilling. You call it collaborative distilling. So I know you've talked about it some. Can you just go a little more detail on that?
So contract sounds so cold, right? So you come in, you sign a contract, you have a 75-13-12 recipe. So we really work with technical teams, other distillers, to really get to know them, their brand, and how we can best produce something that represents a gold standard for them, right? So when they come in here, our pre-production process is gruesome. It wears some people out because we go through every little part of the process, where your grain's grown, your barrels, what state the woods came out of, the char levels, the toast levels, the mashing procedures, what temperatures, the yeast strains, where the yeast strains are coming from, fermentation times, fermentation temperatures, beer gallons, low wines, high wine proof, distillation temperatures, everything across the board. We really want to make sure that we can make Bardstown Bourbon your home for your brand, if that's where you want to be, and feel comfortable where when we're producing your stuff, you can come in, work side by side with our team, literally out on the production floor, watching your production, giving feedback to our operators. If you see something you don't like, if you see something you do like, bring it back to your facility and implement it. So it really separates out from a contract manufacturer. I've been in the contract game, right? So you take a product somewhere, they say, all right, we're gonna make it 6 months from now. We got all your specs. We're gonna do it. It's not like that. We really work with you, make you feel comfortable, and provide something you're gonna be proud of, and even try to make it better than you can make it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And that's our goal at the end of the day, is to provide an experiential time here at Bardstown Bourbon Company, and then quality number one, and make this your home if needed.
Yeah. That's great. And that's the way you guys started out. That was the goal, I'm assuming, from the beginning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The best analogy I have is it's like a chef. Take someone like Greg Snyder, a chicken cock, a chef coming in and using someone's equipment and making their own cuisine, rather than a restaurant kind of just selling off the food at the end of the night.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So do you have people that just say, okay, guys, look, we trust you guys, or here's what we're looking for, just help us do it, and just run with it?
So we got the whole range, right?
Yeah,
so we got those people, help me out. What mash bill do I need to make? What
Right.
mash bill is popular right now? To some of the larger producers that have been around for 100, 150 years, that their technical teams come in and they got 300-page manuals of how to make their stuff, where we sign NDAs and go through each page of those manuals to get a warm and fuzzy how to produce their product, going through sensory training with their technical team, so they make sure we're capable of identifying any off notes in distillate flavors and everything. So we actually have been certified, take tests for some of our clients that we produce for. So luckily, Bardstown Bourbon has a great reputation in quality now and food safety. So a lot of that we really leverage, and people trust us now. They trust the quality coming out of here, but we have not backed off on that experience for people to come in and go through every single detail. So what I say, a consistent process makes a quality distillate all day long, right? And I go back to that team, and the team here can really define what a great distillate is and how consistent it is.
Very nice. Matt, I'm seeing visions of like the Bourbon Life series of
Let's do it.
What a just an awesome model for your team and for everybody here to see so much. It's like when your world is a hammer, every problem is a nail, but you all see so much here from different distilleries and different people coming in, and I assume everybody has just gotten to be so flexible. It's like that famous Bruce Lee quote where, like, be like water, become the vessel through which it carries, and you put it in a cup, it becomes the cup, put it in a glass, whatever. And it's like, seems like that's kind of what you all are doing here, where you've seen so many different things come in, you've run so many different mash bills, dealt with so many different clients. And I don't want to say dealt with, but worked with like so many different people and seen so many different processes. The wealth of knowledge you all must have been gaining, and you're still gaining every day. It's like the team here has to be so dynamic.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Like, the team's everything, but one of the really neat organic outputs that we've seen here is usually a new business has a learning curve. The trajectory is like, at a 45-degree angle, right? So just your normal trajectory going up to where you ramp up to full capacity. Working with 32, 33 different customers, we get to leverage a lot of expertise in this industry and learn from them. So in 2016, when we opened the doors, producing for some of the largest spirits producers in the world, we got a wealth of knowledge through our doors right off the bat to make their product. And guess what we did? Turned around. Right off the bat, making quality whiskey for our product. Just the transfer of knowledge and information in such a short amount of time has really catapulted us to a straight up trajectory. And that's why we were able to go from 25,000 barrels to 115,000 barrels overnight. And
that's really cool. It's funny because it kind of reminds me, not exactly, but like I'm thinking of like Wilderness Trail with Pat and Shane, where they started the
excellent dudes.
Firm Solution, and they did all the fermentation, the yeast, and they got to work with all these other distilleries and everybody around the world and see what worked and what didn't work. And then they were able to use that knowledge that they gained. And so you guys kind of the same way. You get to work with all these guys, all these different groups, and you've learned, and you can apply what works in your...
Just tell you how Pat and Shane are great, right? So everybody in the industry knows them. That's the majority of the yeast we use is coming out of Firm Solutions, FS 921, FS 927. So those guys know what they're doing on the analytical side and on the production side. So, just a great spot.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's get some final thoughts, Matt, on the bourbon on this round. I forgot
what Discovery.
On the Discovery. I know I'm thinking Fusion, but we're on Discovery.
We are on Discovery.
What are you getting on this one?
I think the age on it brings a lot of flavor to it. I pick up a lot of toffee, some dark caramel, and like a good amount of oak and leather, but like a really dark toffee coming through with like a brittle. And it's got a nice finish, like a good spice, good heat on the finish, not overbearing, but it stays with you long enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's it's different than it's I don't know, it's different than the fusion. It's a spicy finish, but it's just a different kind of spiciness, and I don't know really how to describe it. But on the palate, that cherry was just like instant. I mean, it was just like wow. I mean, I love that flavor. And the finish on it, like Matt said, I mean, it just lingers, it goes on, and it's a very, very nice finish. So really enjoyed that one as well, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm proud of this one. And this series will continue to evolve. So when Discovery 6 comes out, it'll be a completely different blend, different approach. And again, just seeing what we can create in this format of blended bourbon.
Mm-hmm. So Dan, I'm just curious, because that is not your distillate, so it's sourced barrels,
all
right?
Source.
So is there going to be a point where it's going to be like, oh shit, we're out of barrels?
Great question.
There, it's something we think about every day.
Right.
Back to John, we're very fortunate to have Susie Garvin on our team. No one knows the industry better than her, and she's a master of going out and finding bourbons that we can use.
Nice. Well, that's good. That's good to know. So, yeah, definitely. All right, guys, we're at the end of round 2 here. So let's take a quick break, get a word from our other sponsor, and we'll be back with more with Dan and John from Bardstown Bourbon Company in just a minute. Hey, Bourbon Lifers. We want to take just a second and tell you a little bit about 3 Chord Whiskey. 3 Chord's line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The 3 Chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they call perfectly tuned taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them all together. After each blend is completed, the 3 Chord team then applies their proprietary process of pyrolysis, that's a lot to say, isn't it? Which involves heating American oak to precise temperatures to release specific flavor and aroma compounds. Then they use another proprietary method called rhythmic disruption process, and that's more than just playing music to a bunch of barrels, which integrates all of those related compounds into the blended spirit. Finally, each small batch blend of 3 Chord is evaluated by a trained sensory panel to ensure an uncommon depth of flavor, character, aroma, and a perfectly tuned taste in each bottle. With their introductory blended bourbon, their Amplify Rye, Strange Collaboration, which is a Pinot Noir finished Kentucky bourbon, their 94 rated 12-bar reserve, and the brand new highly coveted 15-year Kentucky bourbon they call the Whiskey Drummer, there's a lot of options available from 3 Chord. Like the feeling you get when you hear that perfect song, you'll know that the 3 Chord line of whiskeys are right from the first sip. They resonate with so much flavor, you'll want an encore. Find out more about 3 Chord whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.3chordbourbon.com. All right, everybody, welcome back to the third period since we're talking hockey. Okay, we're not really talking hockey, but welcome back to the third and final round of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Matt. Matt, how you doing today?
If we were talking hockey, I'm actually not doing that great. Stanley Cup Finals just finished, and the Montreal Canadiens were in it, but they lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And
are you a hockey guy?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that, Matt. I don't know. Have we talked about it? Maybe the bourbon's just erased that memory. Maybe I just don't like hockey that much.
Yeah, I played in college.
Oh, that's right. I knew that. I didn't know that, Matt. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm doing great, though.
Because we had Eddie the Eagle on the show with Belfour, man.
Oh,
so
wow.
you're all,
Dane.
yeah, Matt was all geeked about that, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's only one of 2 guys that's won the Stanley Cup, the gold medal, and the NCAA championship.
Correct.
Right? One of only 2 players to ever do that. Wow. So yeah, really, really cool guy, man. But yeah, I'm sorry, Matt, I forgot that. Yeah, hockey is just not my jam.
It's not for everybody.
Tampa, though, a Super Bowl and a Stanley Cup in the same year.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a Tom Brady effect right there.
Tom Brady effect. He makes champions wherever he goes.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Oh man, that's bad. You should trademark that before anybody.
No, I saw it on
somebody else already did it.
Yeah.
Damn it. Sorry about that, Matt. All right, well, we're back for round 3. Matt, you want to tell everybody who we have with us today?
Absolutely. We've got Dan Callaway, the head of hospitality, we're going to call you now, because we've done product development, so now you're going to switch hats, and we'll touch a little bit more. But
Perfect.
Yeah, director and head of hospitality, and also John Hargrove, the chief operating officer. And what do we have poured up for round 3 before we do the thing we always do and forget about
to talk about it?
So
Yeah, sure. So we started with our Fusion series, then we moved to Discovery, the art of blending, and now this is our Collaborative series, a really special program. It takes bourbon and finishes it with a barrel that was previously used for another wine, beer, or spirit.
Okay.
So we've done these with Napa Cabs, Prisoner Wine, great breweries, and this one is with Maison Ferrand, so a cognac finished bourbon. Great company, and when we seek out these partnerships, it's always a brand that we're excited about. We meet them, we talk about our thoughts on the industry, and we connect. John will get into the process of how we do this, the barrels and the actual finishing program, but this is a Kentucky bourbon blended, finished in cognac barrels, and then we took that finished bourbon and blended it back with 11-year Kentucky bourbon. It's the first time we've done it. So a cognac finished bourbon put back into a blend. It's sitting at 110 proof.
Nice. Matt, what are you picking up over there on the nose? Have you had a chance to?
Well, right away, it's got the nose of the cognac comes across. It's certainly different than the nose that we've had before. It's got a nice, good, like musty grape nose. I pick up like really great black currant as well coming through with it.
You know, it kind of translates to me, and I mean, just maybe my palate's just strange, but it's almost like a leather to me. I mean, I don't know if that's something that you get, Matt, but maybe you're describing it much better.
I can see that, a little leather. I almost pick up like fennel or tarragon, like a dark, almost like dark licorice type aroma to it as well.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah, very unique. So Dan touched on it, how we really process these barrels to finish them, right? So when we work with a distiller, a brewer, a winemaker, we give strict instructions, we'll work with them, right? So they're a collaborative series that we're working with. So we get to know them. We got great stories with them. We get to know their brand. We promote their brand on our label. So it's a true connection between two artists, two scientists working together to make something great. So the day they harvest, whatever barrel it is, we don't have them rinse them. We keep the dregs in. We have them use inert gas, usually argon gas, to evacuate any oxygen, so there's no spoilage that occurs. We put them in a reefer truck after we seal them, and we overnight them in here and live load them when they come off the truck.
A reefer?
Refrigerated truck. Yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
Well,
let's go back and talk about that truck.
Yeah. Well, most of them do come out of California, so we'll see. Yeah, but it really keeps the integrity of the product to really show through and really have a great working relationship with that bourbon as the foundation and the finish.
Yeah, and so with that process, with the quality we're able to achieve, we've actually won Best in Class for finished bourbons the last 2 years running at San Francisco Spirits.
Nice.
So our goal is to go for the 3-peat, and we've got a couple in the hopper we think we can do it with.
Yeah, and it's no secret. We tell people how we prep our barrels, how we do our finishes, how long they're finished. So like I'll say it again, competition breeds quality, and I think the industry, you see finishes just doing great things across the board right now, and we can't wait to see what this third year brings us at San Francisco.
You know, it's funny because I was never that big of a fan of finished bourbons until I started having your guys' stuff. I mean, and that really started bringing me around when I was here 2 years ago. I think it was maybe the first release of the Pfeiffer Pavitt that you had.
Yep.
So I picked up a bottle of that. So that was really one of my first true introductions to other than a bourbon that's finished in another oak barrel or a charred oak barrel by itself. And so
that was an 18-month finish on that one.
Yeah.
So you really pick up the true characteristics of the wine, like leaving those residual dregs in the barrel, letting it sit in our rick house, top floor of the rick house. It just ages beautifully, and that was the first.
What's our oldest finish, Dan, that we've came out
45 months.
Is it really?
Yeah, we've got everything from 6 weeks on a French oak to 45 months. The flavor dictates everything.
Wow. So now, do you guys do those in the same spirit as your other releases? Is it all a team effort, or is that more concentrated just between a select group and the
It's always a team effort. It's a slightly different process because you've got to taste on the front end, because you've got to select what bourbon you're going to use, which is a pretty interesting process. So you take the cognac, you take our sourced bourbon, and you try them together, and you see how are these flavors going to line up. So the selection process is a panel, And then as it starts aging, we'll start to pull it. And the key, the talent, is really figuring out when to take it out of the barrel, because it can go too long, so you've got to find when it's just both flavors are aligning and it's ringing, and we know the time's right.
Yep. Very, very nice. So now, did I hear somewhere or read somewhere that you still have some of the Pfeiffer Pavitt aging? Is that right?
That was the 45-month
Oh, okay.
finish.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we sold through that pretty quickly. It was just 2 barrels of
okay.
it.
All right.
But there's some that may give it a run for its money. We've got a rum aging right now that's taking longer than we thought.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that goes.
And the great thing about our company, right? So we have the flexibility to do that, to sit and wait. So a lot of new startups do not. They gotta push product out there. So we're fortunate enough to really identify a quality product, what can make it better. If it takes another year, 2 years to finish, we're going to pull the trigger on it.
Right. And it's not just wines and whiskeys or rums or cognacs, right? I mean, you guys do.
Yeah, we have right now. We've got Founders KBS Stout in barrel aging. Very excited.
Work with Goodwood, walnut, honey ale.
Yeah.
So a lot of cool stuff in the hopper, even coming up, especially that KSB Founders.
And then Amar Nonino, we're going to source 3 barrels from them. They're going to be on the water soon, coming over.
Oh, really?
And that should be very creative, special release.
So now, do people seek you guys out to do these partnerships, or is it you all actually identifying and saying, gosh, we would love to work with those guys?
It's come so many different ways. The Maison Ferrand and Plantation Rum, that came from a lunch I was having with their VP of the Americas. We were sitting down and we were tasting through their gin, their rum, their different cognacs, and we were really just hanging out. No thought of doing a product together, and you stay in touch and let's do it. It's just personal relationships.
Man, we're having the wrong lunches. Like sitting at home eating tuna on white bread.
No kidding, man.
Yeah, we
Damn.
need to,
Well,
we need to up our lunch game, Mark.
We also call this Collaborative Series because, like Dan said, it's really about the personal relationships. And it may not seem like it, but that really dictates a lot of the quality of the product. So it's truly 2 groups working together to make a great quality product at the end of the day. So it's just back to that collaboration. It's kind of a theme we work around here at Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Very nice. So Dan, let's talk a little bit, kind of shift gears a little bit. I mentioned earlier how hospitable you guys are down here. And the first time I was down here, Dan, it's like, honestly, you didn't know me from Adam, and you rolled out the red carpet for us. You provide us with a wonderful lunch, which I still dream about. That grilled cheese, that was awesome. But you took care of us. You gave us a great tour. And it's funny you mentioned the corn, because I remember we were up on the roof and I looked out and I was like, "Do you guys use that corn?" And you kind of looked at me like, "Do you have any idea what level of production that would last for us?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense." But I mean, honestly, it was a great experience. We got before this library was built and all these bottles were stored away in a little concrete bunker. We got to go back there and check that out as well. But it was just a great experience for me. I mean, it made me feel like I was somebody special, and I really wasn't somebody special, but I appreciate that. So talk about, what you guys do down here in terms of hospitality, Dan.
Well, first, thanks for the words. I mean, and the hospitality team we've hired, it's all people that want to connect over bourbon, and it's easy to be excited about this company. And so being a new company, we want to share it with people. And we've created what we call the modern bourbon experience. Okay. And we basically, I took every tour in Kentucky, right? And what we didn't want to be was just herding cattle around the facility for a sample at the end. We wanted immersive, creative experiences. So it's like our honey spot barrel thieving, where you go into the depths of the rickhouse and we talk about flavoring grains, the difference between, wheat, rye, corn, and you're thieving directly from the barrel. We have paired culinary flights led by our chef, distilled dinner series, which are full meals with a different spirit with every course, and our standard tour starts right out of the gate tasting distillate. From the beginning you're sipping on distillate, you're engaging in flavor, and every tour that you take, our standard tour ends in the rickhouse thieving directly out of the barrel. And then you have a meal, we have a cocktail. We run one of the largest barrel cocktail programs I know of, full 53-gallon barrels. We put orange peels, mint, eucalyptus in the barrel, rose petals. Let it age.
Oh, wow.
And then sit down for a wonderful meal. We're building an outdoor patio bar right now. The goal is that you can spend an afternoon here and just really engage with the brand.
So it's like it's a destination. I mean, it's not just stop off for a point to just go visit, have a tour, take a sample, and leave. I mean, this is really like a destination.
And that's it, right? We call it the Napification of Bardstown. And you're seeing it with all the distilleries in this area. There's 11 distillery experiences within 16 miles of downtown Bardstown.
Wow.
You've got the restaurant at Willett. You've got Heaven Hill's new experience and restaurant. Jim Beam's opening in September. We're creating a destination.
Yeah.
What Napa is to San Francisco, Bardstown, the true bourbon capital of the world, can be that to Louisville.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. So I'm just curious, how has your past, as a musician, as a traveling musician, I mean, what did you pick up? What did you learn from that you've actually been able to transition and use in this industry?
Good question.
I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah, me too.
It's so funny.
John's like, I really want to know, Dan. What the hell was it?
I've always had an innate, love of people and love of hearing about people's stories. Been pretty social, but through traveling and music, and I did the rock band thing around the Southeast for a long time too. And being in a different place every night, you have this 2 hour to meet with someone. You're sitting at a bar and realizing that you can make a genuine connection with someone and you can learn something from them and create an experience is something that I just fell in love with that. And like you say, when you walk in the door, it's genuine. I want to get to know you, want to show you this and create something that way.
John, how was that? Was that a good answer?
I didn't know he was a rock star.
I didn't either, man.
No one said rock star.
Well, you came pretty close. You alluded to it. You went from French horn to rock star all in one day.
No,
I was doing a band with my brother, driving around.
Now the truth comes out. Rock band to band with your brother.
It was called Oasis too.
But it was at the end of the day. With music, I started to love the people and the experience just as much as the music. So.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and testament to Dan. I mean, you went out on break, and just the massive draw we have currently of people coming through the doors. I mean, it's spreading like wildfire right now.
We're here early in the morning. It was 10:45 when we took a break, and I walked out, and it's packed. I mean, there's people everywhere, and I was like, is it a special event, or it's just like people are here at 10:45, man?
Yeah, that's it, right? It's been amazing. Just with our guests, we're doing about 1,500 people a week coming through here, and to me, that's opportunity. That's 1,500 fans of the brand that we can build.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. And as a native Kentucky, and I say this, it's Bourbon Life bingo, right, Matt? I'm a native Kentuckian, but bourbon's such a big thing. When you're a kid, I don't think I realized how important it was. But as I've gotten older, I understand the importance of bourbon, and that's why I do this, because I want to share that passion with as many people as I can. And you guys get the opportunity to do that on such a grand scale. I mean, it's got to be a great feeling. I mean,
it really is.
Yeah. Very cool. So guys, I didn't know, I know you had a fourth poured up. Do you want to jump into that one, or do you want to just focus on this one, man? It's whatever you guys want to.
Let's jump right into it.
Let's do it quick. So this is,
well, let's finish up, Matt, real quick on this one. What the collaboration, what are your final thoughts? This is the cognac finish, right?
Yeah. The palate's got the good leads off with the finish of the cognac. I can really taste, but then it lends to nice deep caramel, rich oak coming through with it. And I really like that. And I'm curious, I don't know if either one of you can touch on it real quick. This is 110 proof. The other ones were in the 90s. I taste the higher proof, and I like that. Was there a reason behind it?
Yeah, traditionally these collabs come in at a slightly higher proof, like the Discovery, but proofing is its own thing, its own panel. It's just as important to us as the blend.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we treat it just as like if we're blending a proofing exercise, as a totally blind, totally objective, a panel, board of tasters that go through, and we really hone in on, do we get down to the 10th and agree on the 10th? No, but we get down to 94, 95 proof, agree on that, and go from there.
And this is one that tasted, I remember it was John and I and Megan, our chemist in the lab, dramatically different, just 2 proof points apart, 110, 112, 114. It was a different product.
Mm-hmm. I like it with the higher proof. I can taste a little bit more coming off. It's certainly not hot. It's not overbearing, but I like that little bit of extra proof on it on the tongue. It's really got a nice oily feel that comes with that as well, I think.
Yeah, and the bourbon, I mean, it still comes through. That's what I like, is that it's not, you get that cognac, on the palate, you get that in the nose a little bit, but then the bourbon finishes through. So it's a really nice blend of those two things. That's very nice. All right, Dan. So I was like being a ninja while you guys were talking, and it's hard for me as a big guy to be a ninja. So
this is a special one. This is our newest series. It's the Distillery Collection. So these are only available on site. We want to have something special when you come out that you can buy that's only available at PVC. They're rare, smaller releases. The one we've got here is a 13-year Kentucky bourbon finished in new toasted French oak barrels.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So it's our French oak small batch. This is a small batch of 3 barrels.
And then how long was this finished?
This is the short one. This is 6 weeks. Right. And our master distiller, Steve Nally, Bourbon Hall of Famer, former master distiller at Maker's Mark, he led this project, and he knew the time was right at 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And, we didn't even get the chance to really talk much about Steve and the team that you guys have here. But, everybody that's in bourbon knows that name, knows Steve. But you guys have it's an amazing team, what you guys have.
Yeah. Steve, first employee in, he started at Makers. I believe they're doing about 30 barrels a week. They now do 800 a day.
Jeez.
He's the king of the wheated recipe. And when our core wheated bourbon comes out in 2023, that will have his flavor all over it.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's going to be.
Then we're going to give him a run for his money with a second wheated release. We actually have a funny story. Nick Smith, our head distiller, comes from Jim Beam, great distiller. His title's head distiller, but he's definitely a master of what he does, and it's only a matter of time before he gets a formal title of master distiller in this industry, I think. Steve was out on vacation one week, and we were coming up with new ideas for new recipes. Just to show you how flexible we are, we're like, let's try to give Steve a run for his money in the wheated category. So not a lot of high wheats out there. We ended up making a 39% wheated bourbon. That's now one of our core products or core lineups that'll come out in 2023, actually. And we're super excited about it. And we're a very competitive bunch here. So when Steve came back from vacation, we had a complete lineup and told him to pick out his favorite distillate, and he picked the 39% wheat. So me and Nick and I like to give him a hard time about that. So like I said, great group of people here, and we have fun every day. Very competitive too.
That's good. Matt, what are you picking up on this one?
I like the nose from that new French oak. I get like a really great, like freshly milled sawdust coming through on the nose. I don't know if that's like a good descriptor or not, but it just like really fresh cut oak coming through on the nose. And it's got a nice sweetness as well, like a white grape almost, sweetness coming through.
Yeah, I definitely like that sweetness, that toasty kind of taste, smell, the aroma, maybe kind of marshmallowy, vanilla-ish kind of aroma off of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of people in the company's favorite thing we've done. It's a special one.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because to show you, time isn't everything with bourbon or finishes, right? So everything from 6 weeks to 45 months, you just got to know the individual parts and how they work with each other and balance that out, and don't be afraid to make a decision.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's because you'd think 6 weeks, well, it's like, wow, what impact could 6 weeks have? But obviously, it does.
And being a new barrel, traditionally on the Collaborative Series, they've already been used once.
Right,
so
right.
With a new barrel.
You want to give them a little sneak peek about a new product coming out with the soaks?
Oh, yeah. So, we're transparent, we're collaborative, we're always innovative. So we're working on, it's basically a triple blend. John and I went out to Independent Stave, who, a cooperage, incredible people, great team, and talked, what can we do? What's creative? What's innovative on the barreling side? So we selected 6 different staves. The first thing is we made a blend, 2 rye and a bourbon, and then that blend will see oak staves, a selection of 4 from those 6. It'll age for about 3 weeks, and then we'll use that product in a blend. So 3 blends, 4 different staves. It's something really special. I'm excited about.
Wow. So now when will that be coming out, or is there
really soon?
Well,
it hasn't started stave aging yet, but it goes very quickly. 3 to 6 weeks.
Sure.
It's going to be a large release on our Distillery Collection.
So is that something that's
September.
done aging wise? Is that like on the top floor for fast aging, or is it a special location or somewhere else in the warehousing? Or
They start on the top, and we've moved them down before. We have a double barreling of our Discovery Series that just got moved out of the top floor just to slow it down a little bit. So varies.
Very nice. So let's talk about the restaurant a little bit.
Sure.
Because, I kind of alluded to it, and I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer, but we appreciate the conversation, obviously. But
of course,
talk about the restaurant and what you guys have going on here with that.
Yeah, so the restaurant is a key pillar of the business, beverage, culinary, distilling, and it's led by the best chef I've ever met. Executive Chef Stu Plush leads a wonderful culinary program. He's born and raised in Kentucky. It's traditional Kentucky dishes with some modern flair. It serves the community of Bardstown, but then also the international community. So you can come in and get his chicken sandwich for lunch, or you can go all out with a steak dinner. It really is one of the most important things we do.
Yeah, it's very nice. Like I said, I had the privilege of having a lunch here and had the filet with it, and it was just hands down one of the best I've ever had. I mean, just very impressed with the food, man. So just the whole environment when you come into this location. I mean, it's something else. Just when you walk in, just from the big wall with the green and the Bardstown. I mean, just everything is top notch. And it's when you think of a distillery, a lot of times you think of these kind of old, musty, rickety warehouses and whatnot. But you guys are very modern. You hold true to the traditions of what bourbon is, but you're very creative and innovative as well. And the modern impact that's shown here in your location, man, it's very impressive.
I mean, you touched on, it's all about balance, respecting the heritage, the art of distillation, but really pushing the boundaries of innovation across the board. So it's something we strive to make better every day. So we're never truly satisfied, and I think that helps the quality of our product. So each and every day, Dan leads a great new product development team here on site, where we're just throwing ideas every week and seeing what comes about.
So it's not just competition amongst yourselves; it's competition of yourself. I mean, you compete against yourself,
trying to make it better each and every time, right? So it's a continuous improvement is what we call it. So we just strive every day to do that here.
Yeah, very, very nice. So you touched on some of the projects you got coming up that's going to be coming out. Anything else coming out or changes, things that you want to share with people? Or
Sure. Well, we touched on some of the Collaborative Series, the KBS Founder Stout, Plantation Rum, Ferrand Cognac, and then it all builds to this 2023 where our 100% estate distilled. And then the newest thing just happened, you got to come see, is our 55,000 square foot bottling facility where we can bottle for ourselves, other customers, and we'll have a fantastic tour that it was built with a second floor where you can really look over and see everything. So we're creating currently an immersive bottling experience for the customer.
And that's got to be huge, not just for you guys, but also for your collaborative partners, that you don't have to do third-party bottling. You don't have to ship things out and wait and whatever. You guys have control of it here.
Grain to glass right on site.
Yeah, exactly. It's distilled, it's stored, it's bottled right here. They don't have to worry about anything else. It's under your safe, watchful eyes. I assume they can show up whenever or when they need to with a little bit of warning, and that's great.
Sometimes no warning.
Surprise, we're here.
All right.
Let's bottle. Well, that's very cool. So what does the future look like for Bardstown Bourbon?
I think just the business itself growing. I know we touched on it earlier, but we just built a new 55,000 square foot bottling facility. Right. In the same business model and the same transparency, flexibility that we have on the distillation side that we provide our collaborative partners. The next the next step of this evolution is we can make it, we can source it, we can make it, we can store it. What's next? We can bottle it for you. So we can become a true one-stop shop. Well, not become anymore. We came online in May, right? So we're actually bottling already for our collaborative distilling partners. We have 2 lines producing 815,000 4.5-liter 6-packs a year right off the bat on a 4-day 1-shift operation. So as we go, we can go second, third shift, and we built it very modular so we can really expand on both sides of the building. So hopefully the growth that we saw in the distillery, we're going to see on the bottling side now, which is the project. Great leader, Justin Willett. He's our executive director of manufacturing operations. Really came on board, came from Sazerac also, helped design implement and get the facility up and running day one to 85% capacity, which where we were co-packing at other facilities, our brands, we beat all of their records our first day in operation. Just to tell you the efficiency that we have here at Bardstown Bourbon Company.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to watch. So besides that, more warehouses, new brand development, estate that Dan alluded to and talked about, and then just building this team, continuing to build a world-class team here.
Very nice. And so 2023, though, is going to be kind of a big...
2023, so one thing we didn't touch on, we're in 17 states right now, going to hit 20 this year, and by 2023, hopefully all 50 states will have Bardstown Bourbon available in each state in the United States.
That's great.
And then maybe international after that, we'll see.
Nice.
So.
Very nice. All right, Matt, let's get some final thoughts. We've held these guys up longer than we were supposed to, but it's been a great conversation, man. So we could probably keep talking for another hour, but so final thoughts on this one, the Distillery Collection that we just had.
Oh, this is great. I really, really like it. Great toastiness from that French oak. It's got a nice savory characteristic to it as well. Drinks really clean. It's a great blend.
Yeah, and the color. I mean, I didn't comment on the bottling and everything. Your bottles are beautiful. The toppers, the core, everything is just so nice. This one is so dark though, sitting right in front of me. This bottle, man, I love the way it looks, in the glass and to the transparency thing. I mean, your bottles really lend to that. I mean, there's not a bunch of labels on it. Things aren't hidden. I mean, you can see everything through the glass.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very, very nice. So, all right, guys. Well, we appreciate it very much. Thanks for having us down here, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Truly appreciate it. We're a fan of what you guys do, and also look forward to what you guys are doing here in the future, too. So,
well, appreciate that. So anything else before we wrap it up you want to add?
No, I would just encourage people to come visit Bardstown, Kentucky. Come to Bardstown Bourbon Company and let us show you an amazing time.
Yep, definitely. Matt, before we wrap it up, man, anything you want to add?
Hey, no doubt about that. I think Dan hit it right on the nose there. Thank you all so much for having us out and for showing us an amazing time.
Yeah, definitely. We really appreciate it, guys. So, all right, with that said, I'm going to thank our sponsors again, the Stave Restaurant out there in Millville, Kentucky, making some great food. So go check those guys out. Rebecca and Eric Burnworth, great people that own that place, and Chef Kyle Klatka is just doing some great work out there. Then also 3 Chord Bourbon, putting out some great product as well. We appreciate their support as always. And with that said, I'm going to wrap it up, send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the bourbon life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the bourbon life.